Hello you fantastic people and welcome back to Borderlands 3. I hope you guys are all doing well. In this video I have the top 3 best legendary weapon farms in Borderlands 3 for level 65 Mayhem 10 for pure world drop legendaries. If you guys are trying to get your level 65 gear and you can't bother farming dedicated drops or the boss just isn't giving it for you, if you want to farm the best places for world drops, that's for class mods as well, shields as well, artifacts, all that good stuff. These are the best 3 places. I'm going to show you guys where to get them from and who is the best, just purely via numbers wise, whilst also taking into account the time it takes to farm and things like console players with load screens. Should also mention that all 3 of them are actually extremely close in numbers, like drops wise, and then are completely way ahead of anyone else in the game. So all 3 of them are really good places and would kind of recommend farming all of them just for different reasons. I'm also going to recommend a 4th one as well, particularly for console players. So if you guys are trying to get new gear for your level 65 builds, all that good stuff, these would be the best places I'd recommend. Starting from the 3rd place being Agonizer 9000. Of course, if you guys haven't farmed him in a hot minute, because he wasn't really on the radar of anyone for probably the last 3 to 6 months. I actually have no gauge of how long, but he's been super broken for a really long time. His world drops just weren't existent. He didn't drop any of them, and his dedicated drops, if they dropped, often dropped through the ground, and now most of that seems fixed, which is really good. So if you guys want to farm him, go to Pandora, then the Guts of Carnivore, run all the way through the end, and you'll find him in the boss fight at the very end of the map. He is an armored enemy, one of the only few enemies in the game that is armored, so take a corrosive weapon. Another thing, he is still slightly bugged with his critical hit spots, so maybe don't bring something that relies on critical hits, otherwise it would take forever to take him down. He has, like, his eyes, the red boxes on him are all his crit spots, but they instantly break regardless of what weapon you are using, so you don't actually get any real crit damage or anything like that. They just instantly explode, and then you're left with absolutely no crit spots. And as flank, that kind of hurts your damage quite a lot, particularly when you're using holy crit. But other than that, he is a great place to farm. He's the number 3 place for a very good reason. He drops 5.2 average world drop legendaries per individual run, which is crazy. I took all the dedicated drops out of those numbers, by the way. Same with all of these bosses, so these are just the drops that are not dedicated to them. 5.2 per run is quite a lot of legendary loot, and on top of that, he drops a ton of purples. All 3 of these guys are in the exact same place for the amount of purple world drops they drop, and it's quite an extensive amount as well. So if you guys are going for any purple rarity weapons, like the cloning banding tracker, one-shotter shields, bank sticks, stagecoaches, any of that good stuff, these are also in line with who the best places are to go for. On top of that, Agonizer has 5 dedicated drops, which is a good and bad thing, because you can go there to get a lot of other weapons on top of the world drop legendaries, but also all of these dedicateds are really good weapons. For example, the Damned just recently got buffed. It is a pretty solid weapon now. There's a lot of variations, but if you get a good one, it's really good. Of course, the Backburner rocket launcher is amazing, one of the best weapons in the game, full stop. On top of that, he's got the Dictator, the Kratos EMP5, and the White Elephant artifact. So all 5 of those things on top of all the 5.2 legendary world drops per run, you're going to get a lot of loot out of this farm. Moving on to the 2nd best place to get legendary world drops in this game, it is Graveward. This guy has always been insane with the amount of legendaries he drops, and it is still no different. This guy is literally everyone's firing range. He even has a target on his chest, like that's his crit spot, and everyone goes there to test out his builds. So if you guys are new players, this is a fantastic place, probably even better than the number 1 spot if you guys don't have great builds, because he's not a very strong boss attacks wise, and he drops a ton of world drop legendaries, 5.4 on average per run, plus all the purples he drops and all that good stuff, and then dedicateds. On top of that, he has a great one in the Lob shotgun. That's a really strong shotgun. Originally complete trash in the game, and then they buffed it to be one of the best weapons in there, and this thing is still wrecking on Mayhem 10. So if you guys want to check that one out, would highly recommend. He also drops the Brawler shield and the Ward artifact, or it might be the other way around. It's one of the 2, but he has a shield and an artifact as well. Both of them are really good, particularly for melee builds from my knowledge. I haven't used them personally, but the good thing about there being only 3 dedicated drops in his loot pool means you can farm 1 in particular for the good variant you want. So that's another thing to look out for when you're going for world drop farms. Essentially go to one that also has a good dedicated, so you can double farm them at the same time. And moving on to the number 1 best place undisputed champion of world drop legendaries in this game, it is Tyreen the Destroyer, the final boss in the game, like it should be, to be honest. If she's going to be the hardest, final boss in the game you want to drop a ton of legendaries. She drops 5.7 average world drops per run, not including dedicated drops, which is a ton. She also drops a ton of purples as well, so if you guys are after those. Now the main thing about this, it is a harder boss fight for sure, particularly compared to Graveward, so you have to have a good build. If you guys want any of those build suggestions, particularly for Flak, I've got a ton of them on the channel. For example, if you guys have seen any of the clips in this video, that is my Alpha Flak build destroying all of these bosses. If you guys want to check that one out, it's on the channel. Tyreen is easily the #1 place I love farming. Personally, to stack up my builds, I use her all the time because we have a strong enough set of builds actually to take Tyreen down without her immunity stage. If she gets to fly away, she's a super annoying boss, wastes a ton of your time. But if you have a strong enough build, you can be really, really efficient, particularly seeing as she drops 5.7 legendary world drops per run. On top of that, she has a dedicated drop, which is one of my favorites in the game and only drops from her. It is the King/Queen's Call. That thing is amazing. Easily my favorite pistol in the game. It's an awesome weapon. It's currently apparently bugged. Most Jacob's weapons are apparently bugged at the moment. I don't know when or why or how this happened, but apparently they are currently bugged to do less damage. They originally got buffed, and now that buff has been taken away. It got glitched out with the Hellwalker buff. Some weird stuff going on, but it still does a ton of damage, so if that's going to get buffed again, sounds great by me. But yeah, that's there, as well as the SMG from Hyperion that starts with B and ends in Itch. That's also pretty solid as well. That's got a buff recently and does a solid amount of damage if you like using SMGs in this game. But yeah, that is the best place I would say in Borderlands 3 to farm legendary world drops for purples, legendaries, all that good stuff there. One other boss I will mention, particularly for console players, is the 4th boss, which actually shows the huge gap between the top 3 bosses and literally everyone else. It's Kilovolt. He drops 3.3 world drops per run on average, which is literally 2 less than the top 3, which is a crazy difference. But this guy's actually a really good farm as well, particularly if you're dealing with really long load times. Not only is this guy a legend for dropping the Monarch assault rifle, which is pretty much the best gun in the game for all-around characters, bossing and mobbing, it also, you don't actually have to reload the game when farming Kilovolt. You can actually just down yourself after the farm, respawn back at the news station, jump back in, and Kilovolt will have respawned. His loot will still be on the ground, so you can get all that stuff, but you can just constantly do that on a loop without ever having to reload the game, which saves console players a ton of time in particular. So that's another really good place if you guys are dealing with super long load times. It is way less per run, but if you guys are waiting in the load time, sometimes I've heard people be up to a whole minute, even longer. On average, it is actually going to be faster per minute spent to get legendaries from Kilovolt if you guys are dealing with all that. But yeah, that is everything I have for the top 3, kind of top 4 best legendary world drop farms in Borderlands 3. I really hope you guys did find this video helpful or enjoyable. If you did, don't forget to smash subscribe down below. Make a ton of Borderlands 3 videos on the channel, particularly builds. I posted a ton of those since level 65 came out already. If you guys want to check out those are on the channel. If you guys want to help me out even more, you can smash like on the video down below. If you have any comments, any other better farms, any different farms, any strats for particular farms, all that good stuff, I'd love to hear in the comment section down below. If you guys want to check us out over on Twitch, I live stream every day except Tuesdays, just after I post my YouTube videos. That's linked down below, or just search Cody McHugh on Twitch. Usually make up builds, find cool new meta buffed weapons, just have a good time with chat. And yeah, other than that, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I shall see you guys next video and a live stream. Till then, adios.